Okay,
Mercury.
so we're not going to talk about everything from the event. I don't really think that a lot of the actual software updates coming to things like Premiere are that big of a deal. It seems pretty minor.
Yeah.
But there's two key things that I wanted to talk about. The biggest like actual announcement was Photoshop coming to the iPad, like the full Photoshop.
Yeah.
So that's pretty big.
That is actually a big piece of news.
So it's still in very early development. It's not expected to release until next year. In fact, The Verge got an exclusive hands-on with it, and some of the UI elements were just there, but were not clickable. As far as like they got the layout generally how they want it.
So
they just have to
when
build
UI
things
is ahead of everybody else,
I mean, yeah, it's make a graphic.
that's tough. Can you expect the Adobe team to know how to make a graphic?
Especially the Photoshop team? No.
No.
So, yeah, this fully syncs with Adobe Creative Cloud.
How many syncs? Because you spelled syncs.
I know I did. I did that on purpose.
I know.
You spelled chip with 2 P's.
I did that on accident.
Yeah. So, yeah, this syncs with Adobe Creative Cloud, and specifically one of the things is that they're working on a modification of PSD files, essentially what they're calling Cloud PSD, which is designed to be worked on.
Is like a project files.
Yeah, it's like the Photoshop project file. So Cloud PSDs literally are designed to always like be on your Adobe Creative Cloud account, and so anything you do in one automatically syncs with the rest of your platform. And
Which
so
is cool.
If you're working from your iPad, then you want to go work on your laptop or like your Surface Studio, you can do that, and it's all there pretty much instantly.
I don't think editing on a Surface Studio would be much better than editing on an iPad.
No, but it's larger.
I know. I'm just.
But the idea being similar to like Google Drive or like Apple's document handoff functionality, where you can pretty much instantaneously pick up and go.
Which is cool. I don't know. I've never used Adobe's cloud features. I don't know a lot. I mean, I know how they work, but I haven't played with them myself, so I don't know how stable
this
or
is
not
supposed to
stable
be
they
a
are.
significant step up for Photoshop Cloud. Like that's a
Okay.
big part of why they're making a big deal about the Cloud PSD.
Okay.
Is they've had PSD files syncable to Creative Cloud, but not in this way where everything is supposed to carry over in such a significant manner.
Now, I have a question. You might know the answer to this. You probably don't, though. I would assume Photoshop doesn't have this, but do you know, does Premiere have collaboration features if you want to have 5 PCs working on the same project at the same time?
I know it has some collaboration features because part of the patch notes for Premiere Pro's 13 was enhanced collaboration features, but they didn't specify what. And
Because I want to know how that works. Like, can 2 people just be like, you see both of their scrubbers? No. You know, like that would be really cool.
You can't do that.
But okay. I wonder what that collaboration does then. Like, if you make an edit and you save, does it appear on the other person's or something?
Probably something more like that.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be cool if it was like Google Drive, just completely live editing. But
so one of the other things that I want to talk about with Photoshop was just kind of how this got started, because I thought it was interesting. So they had a couple of developers on the Photoshop team just ask if they could get a little bit of time to port over the code base to iPad.
Okay.
And they were like, that would be a terrible experience. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And they're just like, come on, just a couple of us sometime occasionally to work on this. And they did. And everyone was skeptical until the demo was shown to the higher-ups of those people. And then it worked very well for what was shown. And they're like, oh, this can work.
This could make money.
Let's put a lot of people on this and do this right now.
Okay.
And here we are.
I like that. I like the way that started. Yeah.
They've been working on it for about 18 months.
See, what we're about to talk about next is video editing on iPad. But I wanted to...
A lot more than iPad, but yes.
Yes. I wanted to say that I feel like photo editing and stuff is something that can much more easily be done. And I don't mean in terms of processing power. That's a whole nother story. I mean in terms of UI and the way you work with stuff, it can much more easily be interacted with for photo. I can't speak right now. Woo! I feel like it's a lot... so I think that it's something people could more easily get used to and work with photos and photo editing on an iPad versus video editing. I think that photo editing is something that could be done fairly properly on that, and in some instances even better because you can do it by hand with a stylus a little bit easier. I think video editing and other aspects, especially things like web design where you want 20 monitors if you can and stuff like that, it becomes a little bit more complex to do something like that on a tablet. And I think that just
it depends on
in
how
general,
the UI is designed. I mean, you obviously porting over just
well, I don't
straight up
mean just
Premiere
like
Pro would
the
be bad,
UI. I mean like
but
the tools you have with you, mouse and keyboard versus pointy.
Having worked with, not extensively, I should specify, but having worked in, I messed with Rush a little bit on my phone. Having worked with iMovie on the iPad, like when it's designed for mobile, it can be a lot better than I think you're expecting.
I guess if it's
not a
cut
bad
back editing.
experience.
I guess if it's a cut back editing program, because the level of stuff that you can do on a desktop application.
It also, I mean, yeah, a lot of it depends on how they're designing it. So, let's get on to Premiere Rush. This is the other interesting thing. They actually announced this a while back, but they're releasing
Rush,
it now.
is that's spelled correctly, right?
Yes.
R-U-C-H.
Oh,
okay.
no, Rush.
Okay, I was like, what the heck? I was like...
R-U-S-H.
R-U-S-H, okay. Which makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. So this is a new... I mean, it's Premiere. It's a new video editing tool. But this one is focused on...
And it's not Premiere Pro Rush. I kept calling it that. I want to clarify. It's Premiere Rush, not Premiere Pro Rush.
Which makes Pro finally a significant term because you have...
Yeah, beforehand it was just like, okay. It was just because it sounded good. Yeah. Like, legitimately, like, sounded good.
Yeah. So this is a, like, internet content creator-focused video editing tool. So think like, people just getting started, like vloggers, especially vloggers, I think are going to benefit from this the most.
Yeah, I think they're going to benefit a lot, as well as just smaller time YouTubers in general. Yeah. And when we say small time, we mean in terms of their editing tasks, of course, not in terms of their channel. Big vloggers could still potentially use this, right?
Easily, yeah.
But obviously somebody like us, it's a little bit of a different story. I mean, our footage not only takes up 100+ gigabytes for everything, but it's like, the formats I turned it into take up terabytes. This is something though that for the lighter weight editing could be really good for somebody just getting into it, or like the idea you had with trade shows and stuff like that.
This is a very focused editing tool. So it's got things for it that are much easier to do than in like Premiere. So when you look at like motion graphics, that's something that's generally a somewhat complex thing to do.
Yes.
And so they've got some tools that make motion graphics, especially when it comes to like text and whatnot, much, much easier to work with. And I think that that's where a lot of the stuff in Premiere Pro could be simplified, but for doing really complex edits, you might not want it to be simplified.
Yes.
And so I think that that's where the balance is for something like Rush, is you look at, okay, what is the target audience for this actually doing?
Yeah.
Okay, they don't in general need this complex stuff, so we'll give them a tool that is easier to work with on mobile and just easier to get started with in general to introduce them to the Premiere platform.
I think, and I think it's great. I mean, I have nothing against this. Yeah. I know there's some people that are bitching and, why are they trying to do something like this on such a weak machine? And I'm like, I don't disagree with that sentiment, but the thing is...
It's also not just on iPad or iPhone. It's also on desktop.
Yes, that's an important note. Yeah. That's an important thing to know. And I guess I'm okay. I'm especially okay with this because it's a simplified version. Because like I said, like literally just porting Premiere Pro, it's not going to work. Yeah. Versus Photoshop, that's a much easier task to take on. It's essentially a starter
Premiere.
Yeah, and that's...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so with this, you've got a few interesting things. For one, the plan, they have 2, 3,
I'm going to mess around with this
plans.
On my computer, by the way.
They've got a few different plans. So they've got the free starter plan, which gives you unlimited projects, but only 3 exports. So if you wanted to make actual content, you can only do...
And that's 3 exports total, not like per week or month or something.
Okay. And 2 gigs of cloud storage is included with that, so you could back up like just the file.
Yeah.
And then for $10 a month, you get unlimited exports and 100 gigs of storage for Rush, which especially if you're doing like making the content with video recorded from your phone, should be fine.
I'm flying.
And then they've got, if you pay for Premiere Pro's single like app plan, which is $20.99 a month. You also get Rush.
I hate that the price went up on that.
Yeah, and then also it's included in the full Adobe Creative Cloud plan for
$52.99, not $49.99, because you know, price increases. They didn't keep anybody on the old plan the same price either, which is kind of bugs me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So it's out on iOS, Android, and desktop, or not Android, out on iPhone, iPad, and desktop now. It's coming to
that's
Android.
The full version, like that's not like a beta or anything,
Correct.
Right? This is like okay.
The beta was actually something they were working on earlier this year, and they had like private and beta access.
Private beta, like okay. Because I was gonna say I hadn't heard of it. So.
Yeah, it was called Project Rush before.
I'll try this out just to see what it looks like and how it plays. I wonder, like though, if it's even gonna support like different formats in terms of video codecs and
Probably
stuff.
Probably not.
Probably just like H.264.
It's probably got whatever's gonna run best on mobile.
And that's like it. Yeah. It probably won't have support for DNxHR and all the other stuff that I play around with.
Because I mean, ultimately, like when you're looking at for mobile, there's probably only one or two that are actually going to be viable on it.
Yeah, this is true.
And so, why give people the option to accidentally change something that is not going to work?
No. I want to put a 1 terabyte video project file on my iPad and edit it.
Do it.
Wouldn't fit.
No.
Nope.
But to be fair, if you bought a Huawei phone, you'd have to buy their memory card. We'll talk about that.
That was a fun thing. Yeah. So it looks interesting. I'm glad.
One of the other really cool things about this I wanted to mention, though, I forgot to put this in the doc, but it's really cool. On the iPhone app, they have built into it a camera app that has a lot more settings, so you can have more control for a more like pro level video recording.
Okay.
Which is cool because I have a really good camera app for this that I bought, but it's pretty much only for photos.
So what do you do for video? Yeah.
So
okay.
This has that. And you don't need the.
So are you going to be making videos on this for your channel, our channel, both?
Probably both.
Okay. Cool. Because I'm excited. I mean, like I said, I'll mess with it too and just see what it's like on desktop. I don't probably plan to use this, although it may be something I want to put on my laptop at some point. I don't know.
And then one really useful thing. So, and part of the reason it comes with the Premiere Pro plan is that the project files on this are something you can open in Premiere Pro. So
not the other way.
Correct.
Emphasize that, but from Rush to Premiere Pro.
So let's say you start, you record something with your phone, you do a couple basic edits, or you move it over to your iPad and like structure out the video how you want.
Yeah, you're doing like maybe cuts, inserting your outro, stuff like that.
Messing with the audio because it does have Adobe's AI audio stuff built into it.
Oh, where it syncs up the audio and never does a good job?
No, the actual like AI stuff. That's not.
I know what you're talking about.
We're talking about. So like one of the examples is you can have you can throw a music track on there and then have it automatically lower the volume of the music track when you start talking.
Oh,
that type of thing.
Right.
And it'll detect when you're talking and it'll do all of that for you. A bunch of other stuff like that. I haven't messed around with that stuff yet, so I don't want to get too into it.
No, that stuff tends to, from Adobe, those newer features tend to be kind of quirky.
Yeah.
Too, so I'll warn you and other users ahead of time. But
so like you can do like a basic like getting your edit ready on iPad. Like let's say you're on your way back from your shoot or whatever. And on commute or
especially public transport being bigger and bigger. What if you're just chilling?
And then you can then hop over to Premiere and do the more complex editing.
And so that actually makes Creative Cloud potentially viable because honestly, my personal opinion on Adobe, the actual cloud portion of Creative Cloud, has been, why would I use it? I'm like, what's the bloody point? But now this actually maybe gives some reasoning towards why you might want to just have everything somewhere and just, I want to edit from my Mac and my desktop and my PC and like my iPad.
However, the thing that throws a wrench in that is that with anything, I don't understand this, with anything other than their like photography specific packages.
Yeah.
You have to like literally call them to find out pricing for anything above 100 gigs. There's a 1 terabyte option for their photography package, but nothing else. The full Creative Cloud package is 100 gigs, and there is no option without calling them to get higher storage amounts. So if you wanted a terabyte so you could work on decent projects, you have to like reach out to them, figure out the pricing, and it might not be worth it.
Interesting.
So maybe that's something that they're going to change, and they just
it
haven't
does depend.
gotten to
I guess
yet.
if you're working in H.264, 100 gigs is probably enough for a single or even 2 projects with a lot of footage.
But why is Photoshop? Why is the Photoshop plan
Bigger?
the one
That's
that comes
what's
with
weird.
the 1 terabyte?
I guess because they're expecting you to store it there permanently. Because, like, obviously, especially, like, with DNxHR or something, you wouldn't want that to be something that you store on the cloud because that needs to be able to load really quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, unless you have SSDs that can be, transferring over a gigabyte per second, you're not going to do that. But for something like H.264, it could maybe be more viable. So, I don't know. That's really weird. Though, that still is weird in my mind that it is that way.
Yeah, because if you go with the photography plan, you get 20 gigs by default, but you can up to 1 terabyte for $10 more a month. Or you can get a Lightroom specific plan for $10 a month with 1 terabyte. But then 100 gigs for the single app with no option to go up. And then for the full Creative Cloud, 100 gigabytes by default up to 1 terabyte or 10 terabytes, but you have to call.
That's really weird.
You'd think they would just have a drop down for other plans, especially for the individual. I can see for the business having them call.
Yeah.
Because you might want to do certain things to scale, or Adobe would, based on how many people were using it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But for a single user account,
you would think that you could select whatever you want.
Yeah, why can't I pay $60 a month or $63 a month and get this but with a terabyte?
Yeah. That is odd. I
don't
don't quite get that. Adobe's pricing has always been frustrating though to me because, fun fact, if you buy bulk business Adobe licensing, so first off, the business licenses are more expensive, despite being literally an individual
yes and
license.
no. So the business license is more expensive than if you subscribe annually. It's the same price as the monthly plan, or 50 cents.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, sorry,
50 cents.
But you want 10 users, right? So we're talking $80 here for a single user. 10 users, $800, right? You want 100 users, $8,000. 1,000 users, $80,000. They don't give you discounts for bulk purchase, and that's something that bothers me. Is I feel like once you go above 10, there should be package deals at certain increments of, oh well, if you buy 10 or more accounts, you get them for $50 a pop, and if you buy 100 or more accounts, you get them for $20 a pop, or something like that, because you just keep adding and it just goes whoop. It just scales so quickly.
Yeah.
See there, yeah. So yeah, Creative Cloud, all apps, $80, 10 plus $800.
It also doesn't. Oh, quantity. Let's put in.
See, $250,
Yeah.
$20,000 a month.
You also can't do above 250.
Oh,
unless that means that if you go above 250, you contact them, and then maybe 250
then maybe they will give you discounts.
Maybe
but
$20,000 a month is the.
It's
the
like
discount.
okay. You know what? You want 500? We'll sell it to you for $39,000 a month.
You're funding the entire customer service staff that will handle you. Now we'll give you a discount.
There we go. Yeah, now we'll give you a discount. Boy.
So, yeah, I'm interested to mess with Premiere Rush a lot. From what I messed with a little bit so far, it seemed pretty solid.
Yeah,
For what
yeah.
it is.
It definitely looks interesting. I'll play with it. We'll both report back probably next week. We'll have some info on testing it. Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of editing to do.
That's true. You do, don't you? We got some good content coming, guys. We got some good content coming.
Yeah, I've got to do an iPhone review. Then we've got a case review coming for this channel, and then I've got the Pixel review,
and I got a pair of headphones coming as well. Yeah,
and then I've also got the Home Hub.
That's right, because you wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much until Red Dead comes out, I'm not playing games.